Good morning, guys.
Good morning, teacher.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Fine, thank you for asking. Okay, we're going to begin our class today. Here. All right, with a little review. Remember what we were doing last week, guys? In this moment, we have 12 participants in the group. Good morning, Mr. Botero, Ana Sofía, Mr. Rengifo, Mr. Cardona, Mr. Valencia, Mafe, María Alejandra Ferreira, Mariana Betancourt, Sebastián Villa, Silvana Díaz, Tomás Rubio, Mr. Merchant. Good morning, guys. How are you today? Okay, last week we were talking about the have and no situation when we were practicing integers, remember? I assigned, last Friday, I told you there was going to be a homework. You can check your homework in the tareas part of Phidias. And when you solve it, when you solve the video explaining what you're doing, and please be aware, I don't need you to appear in the video. If you appear in the video, I will not evaluate it, okay? I will not be able to evaluate it because I will not be able to publish it on the website. So I recommend, guys, you make a video, you don't have to show up, okay? You can do it, I know. All right, continuing what we were doing before this activity, we were talking about finding solutions and writing a list of 4 solutions to the equation. Yes? So, what is the first thing? Can you see what I'm sharing in my screen? Guys? Guys?
Yes, teacher.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, give me a second because okay. So it says, let's see who's in the chat in this moment. 11. Devin. Hello, Camila. Hello, Mr. Cardona. Guys, can you please type in can you please write a message in the chat with your name, like the way Mr. Villa, Ms. Ferreira, Ms. Hernandez is doing? Thank you very much. Now, this class is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube, okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, now when you're going to be finding four solutions to the equation, the first thing you have to do is write the equation in function form. Can anyone remind me of what the function form was? Guys, you can unmute your microphone.
Why?
And tell me what the function form of the equation was.
Y
Y
equals
equals.
M
Can you please speak a little bit louder?
mx
Excellent. Mx
plus b.
plus b. So the first thing I recommend you to do, guys, is organize the three equations in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So if you have negative 5x plus 3 equals y, is it already organized? Yes or no? Is equation
No.
17 already organized?
No.
Yes. Remember the commutative property. Commutative property says that if A is equal to B is equal to A. So over here, I am saying negative 5x plus 3 equals y. I can also say y is equal to negative 5x plus 3, right? Now, is that right, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so now that we have it in function form, it says list for solutions, okay? Now, as I've told a lot of times, I recommend when you're working of listing solutions of an equation, start in -3 and move up all the way up to +3, okay? That means I wanna have x equals to -3, -2, -1, and 0. Teacher, is it okay if instead of doing those numbers, I work with -2, -1, 0, and 1? Is it okay, guys? Yes, it's going to be okay. Why is it going to be okay, guys? Guys? Okay, I'm going to, Emma, why is it okay if I work with -2, -1, 0, and 1? Emma,
I didn't listen.
sorry?
It cuts. That if can you repeat because I didn't listen.
Okay, the question is it okay if you work with -2, -1, 0, and 1? Or if you work with -3, -2, -1, and 0? Is it okay if you work with A than if you work with B? Yes or no?
No.
No? Why not?
Then if you work with A, then if you work with B, no. Yes, because it's the same.
Can you repeat that, Emma, please? Emma?
That yes, because A and B are the same.
A and B are the same. No problem. If you
Yes,
work with
teacher.
A,
You can
exactly.
hear me.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. So it's not a problem if you work with A or if you work with B, because the question says list 4 solutions of the equation, right? And if it says 4 solutions of the equation, the 4 solutions can be A.
Imitar eso.
Uy, pero ¿por qué parece que es el anfitrión? Hi, teacher.
I was connecting to a different internet connection. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, teacher.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, teacher.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Please type again in the chat your names, okay? Thank you very much. All right, let's continue then. It says, I am going to find the solutions. And my equation is saying y is equal to -5 times something plus 3. Okay, I will start with -2. So I'm not going to be using method B, I'm only going to be using method A. We already explained why it was the same using method A or method B. Now, I'm saying replace your x for a -2. So I'm going to replace my x for a -2 over here. Yes, and what is going to happen is that what value is going to be here? So how much is -2 times -5, guys? Negative and negative.
-10. Wait.
A little bit
No.
louder, please.
10.
10. And how much is 10 plus 3?
13.
13. So y is going to be equal to 13. Yes? Now, let's move on. Let's see what happens if I'm working with -1. I'm going to write again, y is equal to -5 times x plus 3. What I'm doing is I'm replacing the x. I'm going to be replacing it for what, guys?
For -1.
For -1. So, and I will continue and I will say -5 times -1 plus 3. What is the answer going to be, guys? -5 times -1?
5.
5. And 5 plus 3 is equal to?
8.
So y is equal to 8. Right? Now, what is the next value, guys? What is the next value going to be?
0.
0?
Zero.
Oh, no, wait. No, wait.
I'm going to replace for a 0. So see y is going to be equal to -5 times 0 plus 3. So without doing all the exercise, what is the answer here going to be, guys?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Well, let's check that. People are saying it can be 3, teacher. So let's see if this is correct. How much is -5 times 0, guys?
0.
0.
And 0 plus 3?
3.
3.
So 3 is equal to 3. Very good, Mr. Merchant. What about the next number? What is the next number going to be?
One.
One.
-2.
Yes,
-2.
1 for the x, but what is the y going to be?
-2.
-2.
-2?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. Y is equal to -5 times 1 plus so y is equal to -5 plus 3. So y is going to be equal to?
-3. -2.
-2. That's the -2 you had over here. So very good. That's the way you solve it, guys. You replace the values. The first thing you do is have the function form. After having the function form, what you do is you replace the values, and according to the values and the answers you get, that is going to be the values you will replace in the chart. Okay? Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay, so we're going to be doing an online exercise, and what you're going to be doing is I am going to give you no, I'm not going to give you. I am going to solve number 18 because we have a little fraction over here. Okay? I am going to erase the values we have on the board. Okay? All of this. I'm going to erase it. And I'm going to solve exercise 18. Now, for exercise 18, I need to be aware of something. I have a fraction over here. Okay? So all the numbers I am going to be writing in my X, okay? I will be multiplying them times 1 and dividing them by 2. Okay? So let's see what happens if you work with any number. Any number. Hi. Y equals 1/2 x minus 1. Y is going to be equal to 1/2 x minus 1. What values do you want to include in the chart, guys? What values would you like to replace x with? Would you do it again with -3, -2, 0, and 1? Guys?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, well, let's see what you want. Your order is my command, like Aladdin said. Y equals 1/2. Now x is going to be replaced with -3. And after that, you're going to be subtracting 1. So over here, y is going to be, how much is 1 times -3, guys?
-3.
-3. -3 divided by 2 minus 1. Ah, okay, I love this because they are fractions. Okay, and I want to remind you of something, that over here, and I'm going to use a green to explain, my denominator is a 1. And when I'm working with fractions, adding or subtracting, I need to have the same denominator in order to work. So if I have different denominators, guys, you cannot do this operation, okay? You need to look for the same denominator, okay? So there's where you look for something called the least common denominator, okay? And when you look for the least common denominator, I am going to do, and I know this exercise is simple, but it's a little way to review. What is the common factor here between 2 and 1? What are the factors of 2?
2, 4, 6, 8.
The factors of 2 are 2, 4, 6,
6, 8,
and so on, right?
10.
What are the factors of 1?
1.
1,
Guys, they are not factors. They are multiples. Okay? They are multiples. I'm sorry. Multiples. What are the multiples? 1, 2, 3, and so on, right? Because 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. And so on, right? Now, what can you see they have in common, guys? What is being repeated? The 2 is being repeated. The 4 is being repeated. The 6 is being repeated. But which one is the least? Which one is the smallest?
2.
Which one is
2,
the least?
2, 2.
Huh? Which one is the least,
2.
guys?
2.
2,
Yes.
right? That's the least common denominator. So that's the one I am going to be organizing over here. And I'm going to say, well, my least common denominator is 2. Now over here, I will have a -3, right? Because it was my -3 divided by 2 minus 1. And I am going to use some parentheses that you can find them for sale in la 14. Están en promoción en la 14. Vayan y compren paréntesis. Whenever you can, I believe there is a free delivery to your houses. Okay? So 2. What number do you multiply 2 in order to make it 2?
1.
You multiply the times 1? Okay, so you multiply times 1. I'm going to copy a 1 over here. And how much did you multiply the 1 in order to get a 2?
2.
2.
2.
So I'm going to have negative 3 times 1 is going to be negative 3. Negative 1 times 2 is going to be negative 2. And all of this divided by 2. How much is negative 3 minus 2, guys?
Negative 5.
Negative 5.
Negative 5 halves, right? So you're going to copy here negative 5 halves. That's the value for y. Yes? Yes. Now, you also told me you wanted to work with y was equal to 1/2 times a value here minus 1. And the value you told me to work with was negative 2. I'm going to include my negative 2 over here. And now, how much is 1 times 2, guys? 1 times negative 2. How much is 1 times negative 2?
2.
Negative 2 divided by 2 minus 1. And guys, how much is negative 2 divided by 2? Guys,
1.
1.
Negative 1.
Negative. Negative.
Ah, negative 1. And negative 1 minus 1, what is the answer, guys?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. I'm going to copy negative 2 right here. Any questions, guys? This is the time to ask. Sorry? Guys, any questions? No questions? Okay, so let's move on.
I have a question.
Now, I finished with negative 2. I'm going to move on to my 0. So y is going to be equal to 1/2 times 0 1/2 times 0 minus 1, because you told me to work with 0, okay? So y is going to be equal to, how much is any number times 0, guys?
0.
0. 0.
Any number times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1, what is the answer? Huh? Negative 1. So 1 over here. Yes? Yes, guys?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
No? We're okay?
Yes, teacher.
All right, let's move on to the last one. Y is going to be equal to 1/2 times what, guys?
1.
Times 1. Then you're going to subtract 1. So y is equal to, how much is any number multiplied times 1, guys?
The same number.
No.
Same number.
Y equals 1/2 minus 1. And how much is 1/2 minus 1? Again, you have to look for a common denominator. And the common denominator is going to be 2. As I said before, imagine there's an imaginary 1 over here. Yes?
Yes.
Now, I'll copy my 1. 2 times what is equal to 2, guys?
1.
2 times 1, right? And then minus 1. And guys, 1 times what is equal to 2?
2.
2,
2.
right? So y is going to be equal to 1 minus 2 divided by 2. Guys, how much is 1 minus 2?
1.
1?
Negative 1.
So negative 1/2. So the answer over here in my chart is going to be negative 1/2. Any questions, guys? It's time to ask the questions because I am going to assign an exercise in this moment. Any questions, guys?
But teacher, I have a question that
But you need to speak a little bit louder, buddy.
how do you put together the two fractions?
How did I put together both fractions, okay? So you're saying this, in this step, that I
Yes.
had two fractions and then I left them together.
Yes.
Yes, I look for the least common denominator, okay? And what I did was I looked for the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 1. The multiples of 2 are 2, because 2 times 1 is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. The multiples of 1 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, right? And then I look for which ones I had in common. So I found out my yellow lines, remember? These are common, these are common, these are common, but I was looking for my least common denominator. That's why I chose the number 2. That's why I chose the number 2, because it was the least, the smallest, right? And when I had them together, I then did the multiplications in my numerators. Multiplication in my numerator and multiplication in my numerator, because what I do on the denominator, I also have to do it in a numerator, all right? Okay.
Okay. So you were looking for the both sides that are equal to 2.
Exactly. And this is where a review of fractions is going to appear. Okay. So let's, any other question, guys? Mr. Rengifo, was I clear?
Yes.
Yes. Any other question, guys? No more questions? Okay, let me see here in the chat. Here in the chat. Teacher, I have a problem with the Wi-Fi. I need to go to thank you. Okay, Mr. Lopez. Okay, so there's no question. No question. Okay, if there are no questions, guys, you're going to be solving exercise 19 on your own. Okay? And in order to solve exercise 19, I will give you 4 minutes. What do you have to do in exercise 19? I am going to remind you that you're going to be looking for values of x equals to -3. If you want to work with -3, -3, -2, -1, and 0. And you're going to replace these values in this equation, and you're going to find the value of y. I am going to give you one of them. Which one would you like me to replace for you guys? -3, -2, -1, or 0?
-3.
-3? Okay, so y is going to be equal to 1/3 times something over here and -5. What I am going to put between the parentheses is going to be a -3. right? So y is going to be equal to, how much is 1 times negative 3, guys?
-3.
Negative 3. And negative 3/3 minus 5. How much is negative 3 divided by 3?
-1.
Negative 1 minus 5. So y is going to be equal to, I owe 1 and I owe 5. How much do I owe?
Negative
-6.
6.
Negative 6. So my answer over here is going to be negative 6. Okay? What you have to do now is replace this negative 3 for a negative 2, and then replace this negative 3 for a 1, and then replace the negative 3 for a 0. Okay? Now, I am going to give you, no? Okay. Manu, can you please write your last name? I believe that should be Miss Arenas, right? Manu? No? Maria Fernanda Hernandez. Unmute your microphone, please.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Thank you very much for your participation. What is the value of y
Thank you.
when x is equal to -1?
Teacher, I was finishing that because I confusing something, but
Okay.
I was finished.
Okay, thank you. Mariana Betancourt.
Teacher, is that I only answer to the first.
Okay. So guys, I believe that as we had to do a review of positive and negative numbers of integers, that is the name of that set of numbers as we saw in the last term, I believe we will also have to use a review of fractions because it's taking more than the time. Let's move over here. Valentina Aguirre. Miss Aguirre. Can you please unmute your microphone? Miss Aguirre?
No, teacher, I didn't finish.
So, Miss Aguirre, do you think it's going to be useful a review of fractions?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Rubio, please unmute your microphone. What is the answer of y? Y is going to be equal to what when x is equal to -1, Mr. Rubio?
Hello, teacher.
Hello, Mr. Rubio.
From the 18.
Yes, sir. From number 19. From number 19. Because I did 18, remember? I was doing 18 yes. Over here. I'm talking about number 19. What is the value of x? What is the value of y when x is equal to -1? 8? 8?
No, that's wait.
Wait. No, 8, no, wait. Okay. What is the value, my friend? So people, you're taking more time.
Teacher, I think it's 26.
26? So this is Mr. Rubio. And now let's listen to a girl. Any girl in the audience would like to give me the answer for what happens, what is the value of y when x is replaced for 0? Any member in the audience that would like to share their answers?
-1.
-1? Okay, who said -1?
Me, Francisco.
Okay, Francisco. So this is Mr. Francisco Gutierrez, right?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Mr. Gutierrez. Now, guys, I'm going to solve this exercise, 1/3 x minus 5. I'm going to solve it over here, just in case you have some doubts. And I'm going to say y is going to be equal to 1/3 times x minus 5. Now, the first value I want to replace it for is the 3, but I already did that over here by the -3. So because I already replaced it, I don't want to use your time doing again the exercise I just did. So it's going to be 1/3. Now I'm going to replace my x for a -2. Okay, 1/3 times -2 minus 5. When I have this, y is going to be equal to -2/3. Okay, because there is a property of fractions that say a divided by b times c divided by d. The answer is a times c divided by b times d, right? So in this case, what I did was, and let's go back to the example, it was 1/3 times -2. The -2 has an imaginary 1 over here, okay? So the answer is, according to what it says over here, 1 times -2 divided by 3 times 1. And the answer is going to be -2/3, okay? That's my -2/3 I have over here. And now, -2/3, I am going to subtract 5 from it. But I can't do this because I don't have the same denominator. And if I don't have the same denominator, I need to look for a same denominator. I will again say there's an imaginary 1 over here, because any number divided by 1 is the same number, okay? Is it clear up to here, guys? So we can move on?
Yes, teacher.
Yes? Okay,
Yes,
so let's
teacher.
move on. So here, I need to look for a common denominator. And I find the common denominator by using or prime factorization or by remembering the multiples. Now, the common multiple between 3 and 1 is going to be 3. Why? Because the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 1 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. And the multiples of 1 are 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now I can clearly see over here that my common multiple is going to be 3 and 1, right? So my multiple is going to, let's get 3 and 1, I'm sorry, 3 and 3, 3 and 3. They're in common, right? They are repeated. So if that is my common multiple, I will come back again over here and say, this is -2 times what? Minus 5 times what? Times what? Now, 3 times what is equal to 3, guys?
1.
3 times 1 is equal to 3. So I'm going to have a 1 over here, right? And then I'm going to say 1 times what is equal to 3?
3.
3.
3.
So I copy a 3 over here, okay? And then I continue. This is equal to y. So -2 times 1 is -2. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15 divided by 3. How much is negative 2 minus 15? Negative 17.
Negative
Negative 17 thirds. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, so negative. Mr. Giraldo, I'm sorry. Negative
Yes,
3
teacher. The
and negative.
problem that I had is that I multiply the numerator.
Okay, but look, the importance here is not me saying, you see, Mr. Giraldo? No. Mr. Giraldo, when you look at this exercise, are you able to understand what you didn't remember before?
Yes, teacher.
Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's the idea of this class. Okay, now let's move on to the next exercise. I am going to be replacing negative 2 for a negative 1 because that's what the chart says. Negative 3, negative 2, and negative 1. So I'm going to say now, y is equal to 1/3 x minus 5, x minus 5. And I'm going to be replacing my x for a negative 2. Right? So when I replace this, I will say y is going to be equal to negative 2/3 minus 5. Can I do the subtraction, guys? Yes or no? They don't have the same denominator. So I will again say, let's imagine there is a 1 over here. Right? Because any number divided by 1 is the same number, right? Now, same exercise I did over here. Which ones were common? Well, you know it's the 3. So I know y is going to be equal to negative 2 minus 5 divided by 3. And how much is negative 2 minus 5?
positive 3.
Positive? Negative 2 debes 2, negative 5. You owe 5.
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
Negative 7, great. Y is equal to negative 7/3. Any question, guys? So let's go here. Yes, yes.
Without the property that you have, how you will do it?
Without what property?
A divided by B times C divided by D.
Okay. I will, yeah. Multiplying fractions. A times B divided by, no. The fraction is A divided by B times C divided by D. This property, Mr. Rengifo?
Yes, without that property.
Without it? I
You
know.
cannot do it.
No, because I am working with fractions, my friend. And what I'm saying is, I want to convert negative 2/3. I want to write something new that has a 3 over here. 3 times what is equal to 3? 1. So negative 2 times 1 is equal to negative 2. And now I am also saying negative 1, I want to convert it into a 3. But here in my numerator, I had a negative 5. Negative 1 times what is equal to 3? Times 3. And if I multiply it in my denominator, I multiply it in my numerator. You're right, guys. There's a mistake over here. Thank you, Mr. Rengifo. This is a
That's
negative.
why I didn't understand.
There's a negative 15. So let's explain it Let's explain it again. Thank you, Mr. Rengifo, for making me find out what happened. So let's leave it over here, okay? Now, I now have, from this information that we found, we can say that my first was turned into a negative 2/3. Nothing happened. And my second one turned into negative 15/3, right? So now
Yeah.
I will have the same denominator and I will be able to add or subtract them. In this particular case, we're doing a subtraction. So y is going to be equal to negative 17/3. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rengifo. So y is going to be equal to, what happened, Mr. Rubio?
Yes, teacher.
But teacher, you do that with -2 and it was with -1.
Yes. Oh, it was the repetition of the repetition. Okay, no problem. Let's do it. Let's do another one over here with y is equal to 1/3 x minus 5. 1/3 x minus 5. And I want to replace my x for a -1 and then subtract 5. And I'm going to have y is equal to 1 times -1, -1/3 minus 5. The same what we explained before. There's an imaginary 1 over here. Okay, so my 1/3, I know that my common denominator is going to be 3. 1/3. What do I do to the 3 to turn it at 3? Well, I just multiply times 1. So over here, I'm going to multiply times 1, and my answer is going to be -1. Okay? And then I have a 5, and a 5 divided by 1. What did I do in order to get a 3 over here? Well, I had to multiply times 3. 1 times 3 equals 3. 5, what I do in my denominator, I do in my numerator. 5 times 3 is going to be 15. So now I have -1 minus -1/3 minus 15/3. This is the same as if I had a long division line over here, a -3, a -1, and a -15. So my answer is going to be equal to -16. Yes?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So this is -5, and this is -5. -16/3. Mr. Rubio?
Yes, teacher.
Is it clear now? Huh?
Yes.
Yes? It's clear? Okay, my friend, I'm happy.
Yes, teacher.
Now, Mr. Gutierrez, let's see what happened to your exercise. 1/3 x. Let's check it. Y is equal to 1/3 x minus 5. Y is equal to 1/3. You replaced your exercise for a 0. And you know, guys, that any number times 0 is equal to 0. And how much is 0 minus 5, Mr. Gutierrez? How much, Mr. Gutierrez?
0.
0 minus 5.
0.
Negative 5.
Ah, 5.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, teacher, yes.
Now, guys, we have this value. And if I reorganize all this chart, I will say, excuse me for a second. I found out that when I replace my y for a -2, I got a -17/3. I got a -17 -17/3, right? When I replace it for a -1, I got a -16/3. And when I replaced it for a 0, I got a -5. So some of you might ask, teacher, but why do I have a 6 over here? Well, guys, what happens when you have -18/3? What is the answer? -18 divided by 3 is equal to -6. Okay?
So we can simplify.
Exactly, you can simplify. But you can't simplify -17 divided by 3 because 17 is not a multiple of 3. You can simplify 16 divided by 3 because 16 is not a multiple of 3. Can you simplify this one? It would be 15 divided by 3, right? -15/3, and the answer will be -5. Any questions, guys? Remember, you're gonna have the video of this that can be found in Math Roads. In the Google channel created Math Roads. I created a channel only for your math lessons, okay? You're gonna be able to find the video over there. Now, guys, for next class, I want you to solve these exercises in a piece of paper. It's not mandatory. It's only to practice. And it says, use the chart in the left, that means this chart over here, to include your answers. Answers will be checked in class on Wednesday, April 22nd. So, copy them. I am going to publish them in Math Roads if we don't have time, because in 1 minute the class is going to be over. And you can solve them in a piece of paper. We're going to be checking these exercises on Wednesday. The idea is that you practice multiplication, addition, subtraction, division of integers. Okay, guys?
Okay, teacher.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, guys. Thank you for being here.
Okay, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye,
Bye.
teacher.